So Cecelia, we had a chance to speak a little bit before we got on stage today, and you talked about this idea I thought was very interesting of professional growth hacking. Can you elaborate on that? Because you probably are the only person I've ever had that conversation with.
Okay. I think in China, the merge of online and offline has been more intense than anywhere else in the world. And so we see pressure, I think online players coming down to offline, and we also see offline players are much more have the pressure of moving into online. And Tencent as a platform, we are a connector, and so we believe for a lot of our offline partners, they will have a huge growth potential to build their online business on our platform, on the WeChat platform, which we have some examples we can show later. But the real problem is they don't know how to do it. So the organizational capability, while they do things in the past and how they actually grow really fast in the internet world, is actually a totally new thing to them. So what we do is actually we organize the smart retail group, and we have professional people who have huge experience on how to how to do growth, how to gain traffic, and how to convert traffic, and how to build a solid, sustainable platform on the internet world, and work together like side by side with the offline retailers. And we teach them and coach them how to do online business. And we have a lot of good partners, solid partnership gaining from that. So.
What do you find is the biggest challenge that retailers have right now as they're working with Tencent?
I think it's as we talk about earlier, it's all new things. So it's you have to learn it's a new technology, and you have to have new people to doing it, and you have to have your organization working a different way of doing it. So everything is a completely challenge, and it's a very fun and exciting tour. Yeah.
So we view WeChat as the super connector in China. Can you elaborate on that?
We think we have one example. Let me show you, starting with one example. I think that elaborate best of all. So everyone in grocery market hates queuing, right? So if you go into a Walmart, and queuing is one of the worst time you can spend there. So in China, what you do is basically you walk in Walmart, and then you see the little sign of the mini program, and then you just pull up WeChat, and then scan the QR code, and then you have a mini app pops up right now, and then you just using it to scan with the item and the merchandising, and then pay with the mini program, and then you just walk out of the store. So this is basically, the idea is actually nothing new. People want to do this for a long, long time. And it's been, the scan and go idea has been on the market for a long, long time. But I think what's really interesting is the scale we can reach in a short time. So the scan and go together we do it with Walmart is in 9 months, 20 million people used it. And on every day, if we talk about 100 people walking in the store, around 30 to 40% of them, 30 to 40% people will use it automatically. So this is a really interesting part, is how we can. That's a power of a super connector, is because we see in this example many things coming together to make the scale wrapping up so fast. So first of all, it's the WeChat's usage. So people spend 100 minutes on WeChat every day, a large percent of people, and then we have 1.8 billion people. So that means everyone coming in store, you can have a safe estimation they're using WeChat. And also we have a long established relationship on the QR code, on the WeChat and the QR code. So we use it to add new friends, and we use it to pay. And so whenever people see a QR code, they know, pull up your WeChat and pay it with it. So the education cost is actually really low, and people know what to do with the QR code. And then it comes to the mini program. It doesn't have to download. So you don't have to have people wait there and spend 3 minutes downloading and figure out and registration. It's just automatic. You scan it and you pull it out. And then lastly, you pay with them. People, WeChat payment has been developed for 5 years, and so people are very safe, feeling very safe and paying with it. So this is one example. Sorry, take a long time to explain, but I think this is a condensed example is how the super connector and merging with the physical retailers and how it changes the actual consumer experience and actually change the operation of the retailers.
So WeChat mini programs were developed about 2 years ago. Can you talk about the impact that that's had, and how do you think that that'll change shopping going forward?
I think it will have several ways. So in one thing, it makes it much more sustainable and much more realistic for offline retailers to build their own channel on the platform. So build our own channel that will drive significant growth from their own from their offline to online. And then secondly is we have an opportunity to building an offline to online a seamless experience from offline to online. And thirdly, it's a very good data collection and consumer tracking tool, and so it will upgrade the overall operation of the retailers as well.
And then how does Tencent build up relationships with retailers and partner with them and help them grow?
It's very much like we talked about very earlier. So we believe the WeChat platform on the building your own channel on the WeChat platform is very important. And we help a lot of retailers in different verticals to build their own channel. And then after that, we're solving a lot of problems together with them. And being with that, we stay as a technical provider. So we have our own very true value proposition is that we don't do retail by ourselves. So the retail expertise is our partners have the expertise, and we stay as we always call ourselves a phone line. And we want to build a very complex and well-established phone line from online to offline, building the seamless experience. And then after that, using all the upgraded data and collected and help the retailers to upgrade their operation.
So obviously, as they think about this idea of using WeChat mini programs, it's a journey, right? It's not a destination. As they start this journey, can you talk about how you partner with them?
So I think I think we need to. I think there are many different verticals, and in every vertical we need to solve things very differently. So, for example, usually in grocery market, the usually pain point start. Everyone we always start with the pain point. So usually in the grocery, the queuing is one of the pain point, and that's where we start with designing the scan and go together with the design with the retailers, and then it's also a way of gaining their own consumers' data and tracking and building a solid CRM system from there. And then on the apparel market, it's different. Usually the consumers' relationship with the shop assistant is very important. And then we have some other tools such as WeChat Work to help them to link the shop assistant with the consumer and then building a solid relationship and having increased connectivity from there.
So with regards to shopping, do you think there's one social need that the consumer values more than others?
I think the nature of social and the nature of retail has never changed. So it remains always the same. What we do is actually changing, using the technology to facilitate what's already in the place and what's already in the demand for people and in the needs for people, and what's already in there for the decades of evolution for every brand who knows how their consumer shops and why the consumer buy their product. So that's basically how the WeChat design ourselves as a tool, and we want to make the tool to be suitable for every consumer and for every brand and consumer's connection. So for example, in the very beginning, we know like when people talk together, like when we are chatting, shopping has always been one of the important topics, like what's the new clothes to buy and what are new things to shop. And then we in the beginning of the WeChat, we include the shopping. We allow people to include the shopping where they browse outside of WeChat and to move them back to the chat, to their chat, and how we can exchange what are the new goods and things like that. And then after that, we add payment because people need payment. And then after that, we found that the sharing of the linkage is not optimized experience, so we change it to a mini program. And then later on, we find that maybe talking to our own brand, like talking to a storefront, is not the most friendly interface. So our newest idea is maybe linking the people with the shop assistant with a face to the merchant, and so that's a new way of developing. So that's how we do things. So we always work on the connectivity side. And we also want to look at, when we look back, we actually have the research with BCG to look at how the increased connectivity help the offline retailer gain their productivity. Actually, the result is quite encouraging as showing there. So we have strong growth from every across different industries. So this works. So this is a huge encouragement to us. So that's how we are working on the direction. It's basically helping with the connectivity side, providing better connectivity, and that's the way we help the business to grow their business, as well as consumers gaining better satisfaction.
So last question for you. As you're seeing everyone move online, how do they gain traffic in a very crowded market?
It's actually, this is a very interesting, and that's actually come to a lot of our offline retailers' unique advantage. Is what we found usually the highest quality of the traffic or the best consumer come from their own offline consumers. So when the consumer leave the store, actually, in a lot of sense, sometimes they just can't decide for example, when they can't decide what to buy at the store. So a lot of time when we ask the shop assistant to just add there on WeChat and then just follow up, do a simple follow up, usually getting a lot of conversion after that. So that allows to us think a lot about how to the whole idea about online and offline. So having the connective on online, offline, having an omni-channel experience is actually usually the greatest way to improve your productivity, and also that's the highest quality, and that's the area of traffic you should focus on.
Great. Everyone, please join me and thank Cecelia for joining us today.
Thank you.